So we're going to go over the spinal slash Chiro panel on the imaet system. So you can find this on your navigation page under Bioscan. Click on that, and that brings us to this page here. So we've got a lot of stuff going on this page. On the top left-hand side, we have some frequencies here. If you click on anatomical, this has just the bones in the body. So for example, you have 16 carpals, you have one coccyx bone, you have two femur bones. And as you click through these, you're going to see descriptions come up at the bottom in the bottom left-hand box. We can also go over to feedback, set a time, and then press interface if the person is connected to the machine, or click virtual if we are running these frequencies virtually. If you have a virtuoso, there will only be one button because the virtuoso only runs the frequencies virtually. And after the allotted time, here in the harmonized percent box, you will see how harmonized this frequency is for the body. So we're going to stop that, come back over here to the left-hand top, and we can also click this biospecific button. This goes through different biospecific frequencies that could be going on with the body. So for example, you have things over here like back pain, osteoarthritis, spina bifida. Again, you can see the description at the bottom, and you can come over here and give the body feedback. Then we have in the middle all of the different bones of the spine. And if we click up in the right-hand top corner on Bioscan, that's going to give us a number rating for each of the spinal vertebrae. So what we're looking for is anything between a 40 and a 60. That means that bone is running in harmony with the rest of the body. When you get the really high numbers, that could be pain or inflammation or a subluxation. When you get the really low numbers, that could be something stopping the energy from flowing properly. So here's our scan. The top number is going to come up in red. So thoracic 8 is running at an 85. Then we've got cranial and cervical running at a 53. And we've got the cervical 1 running at a 53. And we've got cervical 3 running at just a 3. If we look through the rest of the numbers, we can see that there's a few other really low numbers. For example, lumbar 3 down here only has a 5. So if we came over here to feedback, we could put in a number. We could press virtual, and that's going to run these top 3 items, the T8, thoracic 8, the cranial, and the cervical spine. Now, we don't really want, in a perfect world, we would not run the cranial or the cervical because those are in the 50s. So those are probably pretty good. We would actually want to go after these low numbers here. But just to show you how this works, after the first third of time, it's done running on the thoracic 8 vertebrae, and that's harmonized by 98%. Now it's running on the cervical 1 vertebrae for the second third of this time. Let's see, that harmonized at 58%, and now it's onto the cranial part of the spine, or the cranial bone, and that will run for this third third of this time. And that has harmonized at 48%. Now, alternatively, we can click this auto feedback, and this auto feedback will also run through all 3 of the top items. If we didn't want to run those top 3, we can just click on one, and then we can run feedback there, and that will take the entire amount of time to run it for that one specific vertebrae. Or we could click over here on that lower vertebrae and run that. There's also a panel info button at the bottom right corner. We can click there and that will tell you all about the spinal panel. And there's also a link to dermatomes, which will link us to this other page right here. We can look at the spine and see which vertebrae we're running at a very high or a very low level. So for example, cervical 3 here is running at a 3. We can then go in and send frequencies to bring this C3 dermatome back to homeostasis. So that's where your C3 is. And here is that dermatome. And we can run that over here in the feedback. And we can link back and forth to the spine. We also have a panel info button here as well.